Hello there. I'm coming to you from 9:30 p.m. on April 12th, and you're probably watching this video because you're interested in animal behavior. I don't promise perfection, but I do promise some information that you may not have known. Okay, let's get started. So we'll be talking about sexual selection. So usually when you think about sexual selection, is you think about sex, which means a partnership between two animals, male and female usually. And you think about selection, and that is an animal choosing to be a partner with another animal and choosing to mate with that other animal, so selecting them. And we want to think about selection in the way of how are they selected? What makes one animal more desirable than another, and who does the selecting? So something that comes into conversation a lot with animal behavior is sexual dimorphism. And sexual dimorphism pretty much just means the difference in appearance of animals between the sexes or between the genders. So a good example is with birds. So you might see a male bird that has a bunch of flashy, bright, vibrant colors of feathers, and then you see a female bird that's colors are really dark and dull colored. So younger me was like, that's sexist. Why don't I get pretty colors if I was a bird and a female? But there is a good biological reason for this. So people think of, so males have all these flashy colors because they want to attract the female, which makes sense. It's good. So the female's like, okay, I like the vibrant colors. I might choose you to be a mate. And then the female has dull colors because she is going to be, I might sneeze, so warning. She is going to be having babies, and she's going to be pregnant, and she's going to be vulnerable, and so she doesn't want to look vibrantly colored. I guess not. She doesn't want to look vibrantly colored because that will attract predators, and that wouldn't be good when you're pregnant. So that's kind of a first thought that we think of when we think of sexual selection. And there's definitely more to that than just that. We also think about how, not just birds and fancy colors, we also think about males have different features of protection or competition, such as claws and horns, while females don't have that. And we'll get to that in a moment, but that has to do with two different types of sexual selection that we'll discuss more, which is intersexual selection and intrasexual selection. Don't ask me why the words are so similar. That's scientist for you, naming things. So we talked about females getting to choose or select which male they want to mate with. So some of you may be thinking, well, why does the female get to be all choosy and like decide? Can't you just be like, okay, he's good, I'll go with him? Well, I'll tell you. It's the same with humans too. I'm going to pronounce this word wrong. Please forgive me. It's called nisogamy, and nisogamy is the reason that females get to be so choosy with their mates. So nisogamy pretty much just means unequal gametes. And something that we can understand, a gamete is an egg or a sperm. And so with females, eggs are known as expensive. Not like they cost a lot of money, but they are very rare and difficult to make. So for one whole year, 12 eggs are produced. So it takes 1 month to create one egg, which, if you think about it, is a lot of time spent doing that. So it's more expensive because they have less of that. So they want to choose a mate that will be good for them, will help them produce good offspring, will protect them, feed them, everything like that with their egg, and it's very precious to them. So you compare that egg taking 1 month to produce 1 egg to it taking 1 day to produce 400 to 800 million sperm. So sperm is not expensive. Sperm is plentiful. That's why males aren't super choosy, because they have enough sperm to go around. They really don't have to worry about the production of their sperm. Unless they're sterile, but that's another story. So anisogamy. Something important to think of. It's also important just to mention Batemans Principle. So Batemans Principle has a lot to do with anisogamy, and it basically just says the gender that invests more, aka the female, in producing offspring becomes the limiting sex. So, once again, that's the female. So now I'm going to go into intersexual selection and intrasexual selection. I know, it'll be hard to remember. So intersexual selection has to be done, it's between a male and a female. So male and female. And I kind of think about it as the female's choice. So it really has to do with who the female chooses. So it might be a male bird and he's got all these vibrant color feathers, and the female being like, oh, hello, I like your feathers. I think I'll choose you because you're really, really appealing to me and good flirt. So that's the selection of the male between the male and the female. So intersexual selection. And then we have intrasexual selection. Or intrasexual selection. So this is between a male and a male. And what are they doing? They're competing. So you might think of two bulls and got their horns out, and they're competing for a female, clashing heads, and whoever wins will probably get to be with that female. The female is not always as consenting to that behavior, but they compete, and then whoever wins is selected and gets to be with the female. Sometimes the female is impressed, like, oh, he won, he seems strong, I'm going to go with him. And other times it's a questionable consent situation there. So, yeah. So that's two really important types of sexual selection, as well as what I explained before. Then we want to look at, there's two models that come up in animal behavior, and they're pretty important. So one is the direct benefit model and mate choice. So this discusses nuptial gifts. So go back on another video that I made, and it's about nuptial gifts. I'm not going to go into it now because it's a lot of explanation. But the main thing to think of is the size of the nuptial gift significantly is impacted with the duration of mating, the duration of sex. So the bigger the nuptial gift, the longer sex is going to happen between the male and female animals, and probably more successful, because longer sex, more production of sperm, hopefully a more successful mating situation. And then we want to think about the good gene model. So good gene model is kind of thinking about, so the female selects a male, goes through all this process of being choosy, finds a good male to mate with, but really what's in it for her besides, sperm? Well, sometimes you think of it as not just mating, they're also a partnership, because that male can provide for her and give her food, protection, and shelter, which is really important when you're pregnant with offspring. I kind of say, like, she's given Maslow's whole triangle. So Maslow's pyramid was about the basic needs. So she's given those basic needs when she finds a good mate. Another really important aspect is that she is given good genes. So good genes. So finding a mate with good genes is really good because it makes her offspring healthier, better, and and resistant from parasites and other things that could harm her offspring. And so we like to say an animal behavior. If there's an animal that obviously has parasites, not good genes there, then we say that's an honest indicator. And nobody wants to mate with an honest indicator because it's very easy to tell that they have parasites. Something is wrong with them. Same with human world. I'm not going to get involved with an honest indicator. Alright. So, next video I'm going to be discussing the handicap principle and runaway selection. So I hope you learned something new or you just got a good refresher. See you later.